I'm Russell Jones with Jones Drones here in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a drone service provider specializing in FPV drone fly-throughs for your businesses or live events. And you're watching me on Now Talk Your Shit. Intro music,
Is this Sade by chance?
I knew it. I love it.
Gotta let them know I'm kosher, you know. It's the best.
Well, not only that, but I love Sade. First time I seen her at Playoff Square, man, I just fell in love.
No, yeah, she's
amazing.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. I'm CEO Des. I'm here with my man. We'll get to the special guest in a second. Yeah, man, welcome. No, Talk Your Shit, episode 4. We're talking about content creation and finding your niche. All right, and even more specifically, we're gonna be talking about drones. Drones specifically, man. So I'm gonna just dive right in this week. We're gonna get right to it. I do want to start with the motivation for the week, man. The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. Okay, so again, similar to last episode, stop waiting, okay? Just go, just do it.
There's no time like the present.
No time like the present.
That's for sure.
Our special guest, man, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on the show. My name's Russell Jones from Jones Drones.
Okay. And what is Jones Drones? Give them a brief intro.
Well, I'm a professional FPV pilot. I got started in FPV drone racing, if you've never heard of that. You can actually catch some episodes on TV and on Twitch and things like that. This led me into making a content creation business during the pandemic.
Okay.
And I now specialize in FPV fly-throughs for businesses and live events.
Wow.
And all things FPV drone related. I teach a couple FPV drone classes.
Right.
I have a drone racing team in Tiffin, Ohio, the University of Tiffin, Ohio.
Okay.
And then I have I'm part of a drone racing team here in Cleveland, the Cleveland Quad Squad. And there's a few members of that team that help me out in my business and also have some wonderful drone education programs going on.
Okay. Wow. So I want you guys to know I met Russell through Instagram. Follow him at Jones Drones, based out of Cleveland, Ohio. Great work. The content is crazy. You kind of answered my first question. Tell us how your brand came about. But kind of tell the people, because you're a big deal in the drone community. So can you kind of speak to that? Like, I know you know your ranking, and like I didn't even know. Just kind of give him, a little bit of insight.
Sure,
because he's the man when it comes to drones. Right?
Well, I don't know about that.
He's just humble.
There's a lot of professional pilots out there that are better than me, and I'm always trying to get better and learn more. But here in Cleveland, I might be a little bit more well known for some of the crazier things I do.
Okay. And you are ranked, right?
So our drone racing team is part of a grassroots drone racing league called Multi-GP.
Okay.
And we're ranked worldwide on our drone racing skills.
Okay.
So the best drone pilots in the world are actually between the ages of like 14 and 30, because as we get older, our hand-eye coordination actually gets worse.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm actually not gonna really get much better than I am right now.
You never know. You could break the cycle of,
When it comes to content creation, I know I'm only going to get better. But when it comes to drone racing, and we're talking professional drone racing, these drones go 100 miles per hour in a straight line. If you watch, if we could pull up a quick video to show your users, like some of the fastest pilots in the world, like Min Chen Kim, it doesn't even seem human. People usually ask, is it sped up? Is it a video game? And none of these things are true.
Right.
He's really just that fast.
Okay.
So the ranking system is great because it lets us know where we fall in place
And that's internationally.
in the races,
Uh-huh.
but that doesn't always translate well to content creation.
Because they're used to just.
Well, so the best drone racers, that's pretty much all they do.
Mhm.
Live, eat, and sleep. Drone
Drone
racing, they
racing.
spend, some of them they'll spend 8 hours a day on a simulator practicing. Because I'm running a business, I don't have the time to invest like I used to.
Right.
So I'm kind of hanging out in the middle of the ranks. I think last time I was ranked, it was around 250 or something like that.
Okay. But that's in.
In
That's
drone
international-
racing, yeah,
international,
worldwide.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And then for our drone racing team here in Cleveland, if you're interested in drone racing and you want to check out some of our local drone racers, they're all pretty much faster than me. Our best drone racer here in Cleveland, Ohio, Spencer, is Screecher FPV on YouTube. Check him out, Screecher FPV. He's the 13th, I think, ranked 13th fastest in the world right now.
Wow.
So we have a lot of really amazing drone racing talent here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You mentioned the business owner aspect. You know, it takes up some of your time. You know, that's something we highlight here on No Talk Your Shit. What's a productivity hack that you could share with, you know, the viewers? How do you keep up with your tasks? How do you stay on top of everything?
I use my calendar a lot.
Okay.
I make lists every morning. I also have a job, a full-time job as well
Right.
that takes me away from a lot of content creation and things like that. So juggling your schedule and trying to make everybody happy is really important to do. I think it's really important not to put too much on your plate. If
Right.
you overwhelm yourself, then you're just going to start letting people down. And
Definitely.
the most important thing is to follow through and do what you say you're going to do.
For sure.
I don't know if that's really a hack, but I've been learning from a fellow content creator. You don't necessarily have to go, your workflow doesn't necessarily have to be, load your camera full of data, go to the computer, upload it on the computer, edit it, get it online. A lot of creators are just doing it right on their phones.
Yeah.
I'm
one.
I'm seeing some of
I
these.
prefer to use my phone.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of creators, will post right there in the car before they even get home.
Yep.
And here I'm still at home scratching my head, man, what color do I want to make this picture?
No, yeah, for sure.
So that's something I'm thinking about changing my workflow with a little bit to try to get content out there faster, because let's face it, we're in a world of social media. It may be a necessary evil, but getting content out in a timely fashion is really important.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Even now, you see, I got the phone and the camera. Just it adds some flexibility as to what I can do, what I can create. I got the vertical going, and I got the camera horizontal. So, you just gotta have a plan and dive in. But definitely recommend using your phone as much as possible. I love it.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. I recommend it too.
Okay. We're actually, with that, gonna take a quick break. Alright, so we're back. Finishing up with our questions for Mr. Jones. If you had to look back since you started your entrepreneurial journey, what's one thing, one major lesson you've learned just, throughout the process, starting your business, getting it up and running, that someone can, take and try to avoid or use, what?
Let's see. That's a good question. Well, something off the top of my head, something that recently happened. I had another content creator, another drone pilot even help me out with my social media, Instagram in particular. My Instagram's really taken off lately compared to what it was doing before, which was not moving at all. I highly recommend that you do your research on social media. Google tips and tricks to growing followers and things like this, because I just thought I knew what I was doing, and I had no idea.
Or, shameless plug, you could tap in with the incubator CLE,
That's right.
That's what we do, but go ahead.
And then this was, of course, before I met my husband.
Yeah.
Because first time I met Desmond, I told him, hey, I just learned this new thing, and he was like, yeah, you gotta do that. You're right, yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's really helped out a lot.
Okay. So just networking basically, or?
No, do your research on social media.
media.
Figure out the best ways to follow and unfollow people, and if you should do that, and to grow your user base. You want more followers so you can get a wider audience and get more work.
Right. Okay. And then what's one thing that happened that was unexpected, or what's something you expected that did not happen?
So I thought, if a lot of people told me in the beginning and I still struggle with this, to focus on a niche. That's something we've been wanting to talk about. And mine being FPV, it was really hard to grow an audience with FPV films.
Right.
It was really hard. But then when I started putting up pretty pictures of downtown and things like that, then it really helped me grow an audience.
Yeah.
I would love it if my Instagram was nothing but FPV, but it's not. If you go on there, there's other cinematic footage from a flying camera drone. There's pictures from a flying camera drone mixed in with FPV footage. And now that the account's growing, I feel like I might be able to shift gears and go all the way in on FPV. But like I said, it's something I'm even struggling with, trying to figure out, how to do this, because I should focus on the niche.
Right.
I should focus on FPV. If you have anybody out there have suggestions, please hit me up. Feel free to hit me up. I even, my buddy Canon shooter, at one point, I think he just deleted all the content on his Instagram, which scares the heck out of me. Yeah, he started over, and now if you look on his Instagram, it's all the same. It's all uniform. It looks wonderful.
I mean, sometimes you got to take that gamble. And start fresh. No, definitely. But can you get into some of the gear? Like, I don't think people understand, because even I have a drone. I have a DJI Mini 2, and I mean, I love it. I don't claim to be like a drone person, I guess, or like an official pilot. It's just something I picked up. I saw an opportunity for content, and it's simple to fly, but I'm looking at some of your gear and I'm like, what the heck?
Most people think of drones as like a DJI drone is the most popular brand in the world. They're also the most serviceable brand in the world.
Okay.
And most people think of that, I call that a flying camera drone.
Right.
It'll hover on its own, and you can even set the controller down and it'll stay put.
Right.
And it'll take pictures for you and do videos for you and do a lot of automated stuff.
Yeah.
FPV is kind of like the opposite of that, right? So if anyone is familiar with remote control vehicles, cars, trucks, planes, helicopters are the most difficult to fly. And FPV drones are similar to that. So when we roll to the right or roll to the left, it doesn't correct itself automatically like a flying camera drone does. We have to make those corrections. So if you're not very good at it and you don't correct yourself right, you can crash real easily. So we spent a lot of time, hours on simulators practicing, but even that really doesn't do it for you. A lot of these younger FPV pilots will do 100 hours on the sim, be really great at flying a drone, but when they get on set, they don't have any experience. So when something goes wrong or something doesn't go the way they expect, or they are presented with a challenge, they don't know what to do. So getting that live, that stick time in and doing real work and doing races and practicing with your actual drone is so important.
What can someone go and get an FPV drone and start out? Like, what's that cost gonna look like?
Well, we recommend these little guys. This is a tiny whoop, and a lot of professional drone racers actually learn with one of these.
Can I say that?
Yeah. And all of our drones are programmable. You don't have to be a rocket science.
Tiny this is.
It fits in the palm of your hand.
Literally.
And it has an FPV camera on it. You can fly it with the goggles.
Wow.
And you can fly this in a level mode, an auto level mode, where it will level itself.
Okay.
It makes it a little bit more easier to fly,
Okay.
especially since you're in such tight corners indoors.
So you recommend someone start with that?
Yeah, definitely. You can bash this up against the wall. It's really durable. They don't break very easily.
Okay.
You can crash it over and over and over again. And then once you get used to the angle mode, which is the auto level mode, you can switch it into what we call acro mode or acrobatic mode, and that lets you fly it flips and tricks and full autonomous control over the drone. So these are a lot of fun. They're only about $80 to $100. You can fly them around in your house with your kids. We have races at the bar. Some bars are okay with it. If the drone crashes, other people at the bar will help out and write it up for you so you can keep on going.
I gotta get one of those.
They're a ton of fun. The goggles we use for these guys are analog, but they can get kind of pricey. And then a radio, can range anywhere from $100 to $300.
Wow.
So all in all, you're looking at a pretty substantial investment here. But I'm going to give my friend Matt Nowakowski and Emacs USA a plug here. You can go on Emacs or just search anywhere on Google. There's other websites you could buy this thing from. It's called the Emacs Tiny Hawk 3 Ready to Fly Kit. And it comes with some cheap goggles, a really nice drone actually that's similar to this, and a cheap radio, and it'll get you in the air, it'll get you flying FPV. It has a charger and has a battery, and I think right now it's only about $160.
Wow.
So that's a great way to get introduced into FPV. So this little thing is analog, so if you don't know the difference, analog and digital, back when we were kids, all we watched was analog TV, and the TV was square instead of wide, and sometimes you would get fuzzes in the TV screen. We get that. We get all that with this setup. But it's really not that bad. It's really not hard to see at all. But if you want a crystal clear, perfect image, you want to go digital. And they do make digital tiny whoops. But what I brought today is an actual filming drone. This is a special drone because it weighs under 250 grams with a battery and a full GoPro. This is a Hero 8 GoPro, which has been decased and rebuilt.
And talk about the 250 grams. That's what allows it to be like.
So with
the fly this without a license, right?
That's not exactly how it works. Some people think it's a loophole like that, but the reason a professional FPV pilot would get something like this is so we can ask the FAA for a waiver to legally fly over people.
Okay.
Right, so this is very dangerous. You shouldn't attempt it unless you're a professional, and you have to.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, you have to have a special drone that's been okayed by your FAA local representative, and you have to have permission from the FAA to pull this off. There are other things you can get away with by having a sub 250 drone, but as a professional FPV pilot, I just always cover my bases and always get the waivers and authorizations where I'm supposed to cover my bases. Because let's face it, safety is number one important thing. If someone was to have a major accident with one of these, it could ruin it for everybody.
No, for sure.
So
we wouldn't want that.
No. And I just heard there was an accident overseas in Asia on a Netflix filming.
Really?
And it's horrible to hear. You don't want to hear, things like that happening. It's not good for the industry, and it's not good for the actor that was injured.
No, yeah.
So
I hadn't heard, but wow.
I've got a little screen here. Would I be able to use your laptop if I brought that up?
Yeah.
That'll work, I think. This screen here will give you a good idea of what I'm seeing in my goggles when I'm flying around. And this will be the HD version. We'll be flying this little drone. We got a GoPro on here we can film with as well for post-production later.
Okay.
This is actually the same company we were talking about, DJI. This is their DJI FPV system. It's the best FPV system out in the market right now. Best digital FPV system. So.
Man, this thing makes me. When I was just home, I went home for Christmas. I stayed with my parents.
Welcome to HTX. Switch warning.
I stayed with my parents and we watched the new Top Gun.
Oh yeah.
And this makes me think
Yes. You feel like, trust me, I've
feel
always
like you're
wanted to
flying?
fly. I've had dreams of flying like Superman.
Uh-huh.
And first time I experienced FPV, I was like, nope, that's it. That's all I want to do. I just want to fly. And you do. You feel like you're flying.
Hey,
Even though I'm all hooked up
I
with
gotta-
wires and I look goofy and I got
that's gotta
antennas.
be a snippet for sure. I just want to fly.
I just want to fly. I think it's a pretty common term in the FPV world.
Really?
We have our own language.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like ripping packs.
I know it's a big community. Ripping packs? What does that mean?
So a battery pack on an FPV drone, no matter what size you're looking at, only lasts about 3 to 4 minutes.
Wow.
So you show up to rip packs, and you bring
gotta have
a bunch of charged batteries with you, and you just keep plugging them in and charging them as you go, so you don't ever have to stop.
Wow. I had no idea.
That's ripping
3 to
packs.
4 minutes.
So we got our GoPro recording here, and for
So
safety,
they can see.
and they should be able to see on the screen here, which of course they cannot, because we're having technical difficulties.
And it's all good. It's always harder, live, so.
Right.
And you've been flying FPV for how long?
That's a good question. I've been telling people lately it's been about 5 years. I'm not exactly sure how accurate that is. I think I have to add an extra year because of COVID.
Okay, just to give them some, background, like, because you have a business, people are hiring you. Real quick, talk about some of the bigger clients you've worked with. Because this is not something you do overnight, people. Like this, it takes skill, it takes investments, so who are some of your bigger clients? Because I know it's been some big ones.
So right after I started my business and became an official corporation, I was sought out after by TNT Broadcasting Network.
Okay.
When they came,
Huge.
when they came to Cleveland to do the All-Star game,
Okay.
and I've always been a huge Cavs fan,
Right.
and I've worked in the arena, and I've actually had the opportunity through my other job to work on the floor during Cavs games,
Oh, wow.
rubbing elbows with LeBron James and what have you.
Wow.
And so it was a dream come true for me to work with TNT.
Right.
Even though it wasn't the NBA, it was all sports, basketball related
Right.
stuff. I got them a ton of footage. I think it was like a terabyte full of footage.
Wow.
They paid me really well, and they made 2 music videos, one with Kid Cudi,
Wow.
one with MGK, and they
Wow.
made 4 10-second spots. I just cherish it. The editing, like the professionalism they put into seeing what they created with my footage. And that took my editing game to another level.
That alone should be...
Because it was like, if they can do that with my footage, I can do that with my
Right.
footage.
That alone should be a marketing point. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the biggest one. And after that, everything kind of just took off.
Wow.
Oh, I see what's wrong. Sorry about this, folks. We're almost there.
I'm like a techie. I like to think I'm somewhat techie, so this is kind of like one of my... Not that I think... I'm not calling you a nerd, I'm saying...
Oh, I'm a nerd.
This is one of my...
I'm the biggest nerd.
This is one of my nerdier moments. Like, this is very right up my alley, How many drones have you had to replace, would you say, or if any?
Yeah, so flying FPV, especially for drone racers, crashing is a daily thing.
Right.
Some pilots will show up to a shoot.
Show up to rip packs.
Show up at rip packs at a professional FPV racetrack, at an actual race, and some pilots will show up with 10 drones, identical. And if one breaks, they just grab another one and keep going. They go home that night and they work all night fixing them up. Me, I have 3 or 4 race drones I show up with, and I fix them throughout the day.
Right. Okay.
It's a little more work. It's a little bit more frustrating, but I can't afford 10 race drones.
Yeah.
They're like $250, $300 a piece. This is not set up to do this right now. It might be better off just to do a demonstration and throw a video on there and post.
Okay. No worries. We can do that.
All right. I know what's wrong, but I don't want to waste any more time fixing it.
So I don't think we went over. We said that other little drone was like around 90. Well, the guy has the pack for 160.
Right.
What's something like this run you?
So the DJI FPV system doesn't cost that much more. The goggles actually have about the same amount invested as I do in my analog goggles.
Okay.
The drone compared to an analog drone this same size is about an extra, I'm going to go out on the limb here and say maybe $100.
Okay.
The digital FPV system isn't that much more expensive than the analog one. So we got 500 here, and I think this was 550-ish when I got it. But the GoPros, they're 500. A naked GoPro, if you pay someone else $200 to decase it for you, so you're looking at a $700 investment there. So when you're getting into the professional filming stuff, it gets very expensive. Yeah, there's a lot of initial investments. I own about 15 different filming drones, and as the latest and greatest thing comes out, I just find myself buying that and putting the old one on the shelf.
Wow.
So I've got lots of drones for sale if anybody's looking.
Wow.
They're all taken very good care of.
Wow.
So
how many you think you're willing to sell right now?
Well, I know I have one for sale that I built for a client a while back, and it's a FPV drone. It's on sale right now for $550. It's a Cinewhoop, so it has ducts to protect the blades,
Okay.
so you don't injure people or walls or anything. They'll just bounce right off.
Is that something you've thought about, building drones for people and adding that as a service line? Or?
Not really. There's not a lot of money into it.
Okay.
You could spend, a couple hours building a drone and get paid $50, maybe $100 for it.
Oh wow.
You could I know a friend that set up an assembly line and was really banging them out real fast. And he was still only making, I think, like $75 an hour or something like that. Which, if you ask me, that's not enough.
Yeah, for the work you put in.
Yeah. If you really enjoy it, but I rather create content.
Okay.
I find that more enjoyable than repairing and building the drones. Although a good fresh build is always nice.
No, for sure. It's probably exciting.
The repairs can be a little frustrating because you have to have good troubleshooting skills, and you have to figure out what the problem is, and then you got to buy parts, and you got to wait for the parts, and then you got to fix it.
Smart calls, yeah.
But it's good. It's so good. It's good for kids. It's good for adults. It's good for learning skills in all facets of life.
Okay.
It's improved my life. My life has literally changed since I've been introduced to FPV.
Wow.
It really
Wow.
has.
That's dope. That's exciting. So you said we're gonna do a demo.
Yeah, let's do a demo, and I'll Dropbox you this footage,
Okay.
and
Well,
you can throw it on there and post.
all right. Well, with that being said, we're gonna do some behind the scenes, get a couple demos. We'll add the footage. But for episode 4, this is CEO Des
And Russell Jones.
of Jones Drones. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be back episode 5 real soon. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Yep, that's not gonna work. Are you ready?
I am ready. Where do you want me?
Oh, wherever. No matter to me. You walk around the room, I can chase you for all I care.
Okay.